Good afternoon, Larry. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, pleasure. So I'm going to just leave you now to introduce yourself to everybody and then go on. But before I do that, how would you like your questions to be? Do you want them? Do you want me to tell you what they are as they are presented, or do you want to wait until the end of your presentation?
Yeah, well, sorry, can you just say that again?
No, I'm asking. Normally, the audience have questions, so I want to know if I could ask you with while you're presenting, or wait until the end
Yeah,
of your
sure.
presentation.
Sure, yeah. Well, while presentation, feel free to drop any comments, and Larry, you can pose me anytime.
Okay, that's fine. So, without further ado, people, here we are, and Wes, it's all up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Should I get started? Yeah, just hold on. Oh yeah, nice. Can you see my screen, Larry, guys?
You can see a screen.
Okay, so good morning and a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm Wes, founder and CEO of GitAuto. GitAuto is a QA coding agent to improve test coverage and by generating test cases for S3 managers and QA managers. So today we're going to talk about test coverage. That means, as you know, like how much of your code actually runs during automated tests. So we look at how a QA coding agent can help improve that coverage without needing to grow your team. By the end of this session, you understand how test coverage is measured, a simple workflow you can try as soon as today, and real examples from engineering teams and that have already improved the testing using this approach from my customer perspective. If you have ever spent a Friday night rolling back a hot fix, this session is for you. Okay, a little about me, so you know the voice behind the slides. Um, so again, my name is Wes, and founder of CEO, and which is a QA coding agent. Um, Before building this QA coding agent, I spent years inside other people's product and projects. And one project in particular shaped my thinking. It was decade old SaaS product written in PHP. Automated test coverage was literally zero, as you know, and CFR change, which is a change failure rate, the percentage of deployments that caused an incident or rollback hovered nearly 100%. It was Yes, it was true, and meaning each release introduced at least one new bug, and team adapted to the chaos instead of fixing it. The engineers brace for bug alerts, and the sales representatives learned, just learn to click around broken features during their demos. And the customer support project so often they kept scripted responses handy. An executive asked for root causes, but the only proposal there was just handwrite a massive test suite, and we had to resolve this by just adding headcount at the time. But now the feasibility and thanks to technology, it looks completely different. I started this business because I personally experienced that to give teams still living that old nightmare a fast, affordable pass from firefighting to predictable low risk releases. Okay, here's a roadmap for today. What is testing? We start by covering the fundamentals a little bit. What is testing? Why do we need that? How do we evaluate that? And what is this coverage? and what is test coverage report too, and when and how is test coverage report generated. Then we'll introduce AI agents and GitAuto specifically. And so, what is AI coding agent, by the way? And what is a QA agent? What exactly GitAuto? And reusable test prompts as well. And then we dive into the practical demos, actual live demos, and writing unit tests and API integration tests, database integration tests, and component and A2E tests as well. And lastly, we finish with open Q&A. You can drop your any comments, and Larry can stop me. But at the end, we're gonna have a open Q&A session as well. So, what is testing? As most of you, are also experts, so you are familiar with it. But some of you might not be familiar with whole fundamental things. So let me dig into a little bit deeper. So when we talk about software testing, there are two broad categories usually discussed: manual and automated. And manual testing is like scripted manual testing. It's literally scripted testing. And exploratory testing, aggressively to find a bug. And ad hoc testing, it's for like reviewers, not planned, like not predefined testing, but reviewers usually do this, and use user acceptance testing as well. On the other hand, automated testing generally falls into three main types: unit tests and integration tests and the E2E test. Unit test basically checks small isolated pieces of code, and typically individual functions or methods, and they are fast, numerous, and crucial for catching basic issues early. Companies like Amazon even automatically brought pull requests that don't include adequate unit tests, demonstrating their importance. And also integration tests verify that different components or modules work correctly together. For example, unit tests might mock or simulate external API responses, and but integration tests actually make that real API calls and confirm real world interactions, right? And E2E is simulate entire user workflow, like um, signing in and signing out and making a payment, installing a software and uninstalling a software, like something like that. Okay. And the important point here is balance. So I'm not saying, manual testing is, isn't valuable. It absolutely is. Humans are still very great at finding nuanced and unexpected issues, but relying solely on manual testing isn't also scalable or reliable long term. So balance is important. And let's talk about why, for those who are not, implemented automated testing yet. So why uh, is it important? So there's two big reasons: and quality and time and cost. With the quality side, automated tests catch bugs early, before production they reach, before they reach users. That leads to smoother experience and fewer public issues. Also, this is also important for developer perspective: psychological safety. As your code base grows, you often you have to edit code and you didn't write. Without automated tests, developers or you feel anxious or about breaking things, and this leads to delays or overly cautious development. you know but without reliable tests, you get immediate feedback on comment on push request. If something breaks, you fix and move on. you know and your test suite becomes a kind of living documentation. Yeah, that's just that, third point. I like reading docs, which often go stale. Tests stay, it, literally current by design, because if your code doesn't behave as expected, the test fails. That makes tests, the most reliable documentation you have. The other hand, and one more thing, the other important thing is, time and cost. Yeah, obviously, automated tests are really fast and repeatable. What takes hours, manually can finish in just seconds. This means less manual efforts, and your team can spend more time building features. And actually, literally, manual testing on every commit is almost impossible. This also and accelerates your release cycles as well. You know, without automated tests, you have to batch your changes or releases like a per month, releases, and infrequently, but with automated tests, you can just test, every commit, like I mentioned many times, and on merge event as well. So you can release very frequently and confidently as well, right? And yes, that's a little overall, but uh, people or developers usually, like, want to skip manual tests after just a small addition or changes, but machines don't care about it. So automated tests run literally every time, every comment, even just after tiny tweaks. So, and they scale. So whether your team has 2 engineers or 200, the tests run in parallel. Yeah, sorry, that was the fourth point. Okay, that was the reasons why we need automated testing. Okay, so how do we evaluate that? So now suppose we start implementing automated testing, and how do we actually measure our progress, and how do we know if we are doing good, doing good enough testing, or if we need to improve? So the most practical way is track test coverage, right? And the most teams, when they say coverage, really talking about statement coverage, which is also called line coverage. It tells you what percentage of your executable code is being tested. And there's other complementary two types: function coverage and branch coverage. Function coverage is, literally function coverage, and just checks how many functions get called and how many callable functions get called. And the branch coverage is just for if statements. You have true or false, two branches, two passes, and if you uh, run, execute that both conditions, then you're going to have 100% branch coverage. Of course, we have another, mm, test metrics to evaluate your test suites, but basically test coverage is a king at this moment. It's because simply simple, right? um yeah, that's right. And if you don't have a coverage goal yet, maybe you don't have, and just pick one and say it aloud, you know add it to your pipeline, even if it fails at first. That's part of your process. Eh, all right, what matters is making progress. Okay, and go to the next page. So, what is test coverage actually? How is it, being calculated actually? So, for example, like statement coverage. In this case, on the right side of this slide is a small Python function from my own repository. The whole snippet is just 18 lines. So let's use it as just a simple example to see how test coverage works. And statement coverage measures only executable lines, so it typically ignores uh, on the top side, imports at the top. And for example, lines 1 to 13 are mostly imports of blank lines, and so they are skip. So line basically 15 is just a, is not callable, just a definition statement. So line 16, 17, and 18, and also 14 is a decorator, and which is also executable. So they are the target of testing. So 4 lines in total in this case, right? And if you run all of the four lines or statements, then you're gonna have 100% test coverage for this file. Easy. And also, function coverage is much simpler than statements. Just it counts, just one function, one definition in line 15. And so if you call this function in your test suite, and you're gonna have 100% function coverage. Okay, and for branch coverage, um, if you covered, each possible condition path, like both true and false branches of an if statement. In this function, there's one conditional if not URL on line 16, giving us exactly 2 possible paths. If your test exercises both possibilities, you achieve 100% branch coverage. Okay, and now this is a test coverage actual report. It looks like, and have you ever seen that? Um, this is typically coverage tools provide multiple formats, like detailed HTML formats, and which are very human friendly. But it's hard for AI to parse, because there's a lot of unnecessary decorating for humans. So basically, AI agent servicer like us, we use uh we parse edit code format. Have you ever heard of it? Line coverage format reports, which is basically generated by almost all programming languages. And because this is, like you see, very plain format, it's minimal, standardized, but it's easy for AI system to consume. So L code file and that report is widely supported across various languages and the AIs right now. And when and how is that test coverage report generated? So maybe some of you have not implemented CI/CD pipeline. In this case, I'm going to introduce like a GitHub CI/CD actions workflow using a YAML file. This is the YAML file. So first, okay, this one. So this is a trigger. Can you see that? So usually you push event, or pull request event, whatever as you like. Then test run inside, or basically somewhere. But in this case, GitHub's own infrastructure, which is actually a Microsoft Azure, or sometimes AWS Lambda or something like isolated infrastructure. Uh, some people, think about AI agents like GitAuto could run tests on their own infrastructure, and technically it could, but because we use AWS Lambda, but it's much easier and safer to use GitHub, just like human developers do, right? So human developers usually use this CI/CD. So AI agents is also leverage existing technologies as well. And third, so in this here we run PyTest, for example, and with coverage flags, with coverage reports generation. Because usually, CI/CD isolated independent environment is temporary. So we have to upload the coverage report generated in this environment as other external services like GitAuto can access to the report. So we need to, for example, upload it to the GitHub artifact, which is like Amazon S3 bucket, where it's accessible to other from other external services, right? And fourth, oh yeah, this is one. Fourth, you need to upload the coverage report to the somewhere accessible. Okay. So the last in the last half, we covered the fundamentals of automated testing, and now let's dive into the solutions. So so basically, these are all AI agents for coding agents, right? And but different types of AI, you know, AI agents on on the left side, as you know, like you have Copilot, Cursor, Windsurf, Lovable, many AI. This is called basically IDEs or AI pair programmers or AI chatbots on IDE. So basically, and I use that too, but you need to um, ask something on your IDEs, because basically you might have um, ongoing changes, and humans usually do. But if you ask them as an agent mode, they are allowed to edit all of your files, including your you know on the files you still have, you still making changes, right? So it's a bit it's a bit risky to allow them to be agent mode. So this is why these days, fully autonomous AI agent is on the cloud side and server side, and that's AI full stack coding agents like Devin, from Cognition Lab, and so sorry. Yeah, so but AI agents so started as a full stack engineers, um but if you um so it's like but like human developers have done this for years and years, just like in real developers, generalists and full stack engineers aren't always the best choice, because specialists, like QA coding agents, often outperform outperform them, just those single, focused areas. So I believe AI agents will, or or AI full stack engineers or AI full stack agents will evolve the same way like human engineers did towards specialization, right? So that's where the real impact will come in. So we see the rise of the specialized QA focused coding agent, just as QA engineer role in human teams has evolved into more specialized positions, right? And GitAuto is especially focused on unit and integration testing. Unlike other, YC-backed companies like Spoo or Momentic, they are more focused on like E2E testing. There's a completely different users and job titles and uh, customer base. So we are, each players really go deep, dive deep into details. All right. So how Git Auto works? Um, so Git Auto can be triggered by several types of events, including like manager assignments, um, on call commits, and on merge pull request events, or schedule time. Well, let's look at the basic scenario. The manager assignment trigger first. So it creates um, the dashboard, with your repository, every files with low test coverage. So you can, which file is still a low test coverage and then you need to improve. And you can just say, select and then specify targeted files. And you can, allow or get auto create issues for that and for the pull request for that. And Git Auto using GitHub and you know based on the generated code base and test cases, it runs tests as well on your GitHub repository. And if they fail, it's self correct as well. And only you have to do is just review the PR. And if you don't like that, test results or code changes, just go back to the issues and where your instruction can be modified and rerun this coding agent until you can, it looks good and you merge the pull request. Okay. All right. So let me. Oh, finally, before we starting writing the actual test cases, just let me give you the reusable test prompts as well. So first one is test coding it rules, functions or classes or descriptive, the one and the descriptive test name or variable names, or you prefer concise ones. And also you want to mock external APIs or real dependencies. And for test cases, only happy pass, or you want to cover all edge cases as well. Comments or no comments, reference URLs or no URLs. These are, all requirements from your side. So you have to uh, explicitly explain what's your preference to AI agents, right? And also file pass. If you want to place newly generated test cases into test directory or next to the source, each source file and file name. So what looks like it should be looks like test original file or original file underscore test. You have to specify. And also constants. Tell GitAuto or AI agent just where commonly or frequently used constants is. Like for me, GitAuto is a GitHub application. So obviously we use GitHub APIs so many times. So I tell my GitAuto coding agents, where's a repository constant or with GitHub tokens, something like that. So that's constant rule. You have to specify explicitly. Okay. Okay. Now it's time to for me to demonstrate a real code, real test cases. So let me go into. I need to just hold on. I need to change my share screen. I think I'm gonna share my window. Am I? Really? Am I sharing my entire window?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So this is a dashboard where you can find your every file in your repository. In this case, GitAuto organization. Under GitAuto organization, I choose GitAuto repository, and all the files under GitAuto repository is here. Okay, and so that you can basically in your repository you will export on every file what they are, and you just pick any files you want to improve your test coverage. In this case, 50% in statement coverage, but this file, you know, uh, relatively easy. If that's the case, I would choose this and actions and create issues or create issues and PR at the same time. That's what you should do basically. Okay. And in this case, mm, uh, okay, I'm gonna choose this file for oh, maybe I've already, yeah, this file is very easy one, and statement coverage is 90%, and the function coverage is already covered for some reasons, and branch coverage is not covered fully 100%, maybe true or false, maybe true cases is only covered, which is interesting. So I'm gonna check this and create issues like this, and in a few seconds issues created successfully. So you go to the issues. Can you see my GitHub screen? So GitAuto wrote down on behalf of you
Yep.
about this file and test coverage reports and all the information about test coverage, and also specifying uncovered lines is 18, which is, it's a bit hard for human to specify every time. So maybe this is will save your time as well. And also branch coverage, which is a bit complicated for humans, but it's already specified as line 16 and broke 0, and this is how it jumps. So maybe it indicates true cases or false cases. And also the basic instruction is already pressed here. Try to achieve 100% test coverage with minimal code changes, right? So only you have to do is just assign Git auto to this issue by checking the checkbox. Let me check the checkbox. Okay, and in a few minutes, uh, sorry, in a few seconds, let me just. Oh yeah, Git auto has already. Oops, Git auto has already started working on these issues, right? This is a live log. So basically, let me see this way. So exploring your entire repository, and found how many files in your repository, and also went through all the possible configuration files, like Docker or requirements.txt, which is packages files for Python, and also went through issue comments, if any, and then if there's no problem, just move on and create a branch and start it to search entire repository by using query. In this case, he tried to identify this test underscore slack.py, which is a this time targeted files, and the test file is already existed or not, and this time not. And also it tried to search all possibly relevant files inside the repository. So it's like a almost autonomous agentic behavior. And unlike cursor, cursor tried to a little bit sabotage to explore entire repository, even if all the files in your local IDE. But GitAuto, or coding agents, try to explore everything or every related files in your repository as much as possible. That improve the quality of the output. In this case, test cases quality is dramatically improved. Okay, so now it generally speaking, it takes 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm gonna jump to the already created ones. So let me go to the, yes, this is the pull request which is already generated. And go to the, sorry, I need to, so original file was like this. As I showed you earlier, this is a original file, targeted file, right? And just this part is a function. Very simple. Receiving text, and make a request call and post call, and then passing the text to Slack webhook URL. That's it. And what is the code changes and test cases look like? Here's the one. So this is a test case, test Slack success, happy case. And also, if this Slack webhook URL was not set, which is I think error case or edge cases, and also request request method outputs and errors or exceptions. This is also error cases, and request HTTP error cases as well. Okay, so one happy pass, and 1, 2, 3 edge cases, right? So and the test results, so test cases are immediately run after opening this pull request, thanks to the GitHub CI/CD, and which was showed here. And as you can see, it says it shows is a green check, which is all the test cases are passed, right? So if the test cases here, if they looks good to you, And also test cases are passed successfully. And now if I are manager of this repository, I can just merge this pull request. In theory, it took 4 minutes to 5 minutes, and the review it's gonna be a few minutes more. So let's say 10 minutes in total, right? And you're gonna have 100% test coverage test cases for a file. That's how AI agent can do these days. And this was a very simple use case. So let me go to the next one, API integration test. So go to the dashboard again. And is forked? No. Oops. I might have already merged it, maybe. Let me check. Just API integration tests. You have proposed services. Sorry, I spell miss. Okay, got it. So this one is to check if a given repository is fork or not. Very simple, right? So I'm gonna create issue for this file. At this moment, this statement coverage is 50%, 0% function coverage. Branch coverage is 100%. Maybe your if statements is not there. And go to the issues. See, the targeted file is like this. Very simple. Just call the API and check the parameter. That's all, true or false. And it's already predefined. This one. So, and the test cases, generated test cases is like this. One test case is one function. So 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 was there. So 4, 5, 6. And that was a unit test. And this is an integration test. Integration test looks more clear, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 unit test cases and 4 integration test cases. So 10 test cases in total with just one click, and GitAuto generated all the test cases. All right, and this was interestingly at the first try. I think we made some mistake, and test suites, newly created test suites, fail. So I just gave him error log, just a copy and paste, and GitAuto reworked on the error log and made a additional comments, and we resolved the issues. Now all the test cases are passed successfully, so now I can merge it. That's all. That's integration test cases as well. And also for database, the same. Just go to the dashboard and pick the database files here, and go to this is results, and you can see the test cases this is very simple. I think I have instructed to simplify the output. In this case, one success case and one error case or edge cases for integration testing, right? And it's also the test cases, two test cases in total. In this case, are already passed successfully. So now I can merge it too. And lastly, it can create a component UI and E2E testing as well. So let's see that too. So go to the dashboard as well. And this time I'm going to choose website and install the button. Oh, oops, sorry. So go to install button. Button is not here. Why? Install. I already. Oh. Oh shit. Let me try that again. I need to do this. So yeah, here. This is a components button install. Yeah, I think I have just tested myself, and then, but still I can choose it and create issues, and then you can see that. And if you want E2E test as well, just sorry, just let him know that here. You can put any comments here, and so that he knows it, and if he follow your additional instructions as well. And the results here. So see, this is a unit test or component test for this file, and also not this one. Let me go to the pull request again. No file change. Yeah, this one. Sorry. This is a unit test for this file, and yes, this is E2E testing, which is located in the different file paths. Okay, and it's also yes, expecting this button. If you click this, it actually bring you to the specified URL or not. This is a absolutely E2E testing. So I think I already covered almost everything. Just hold on.
Uh, so you went through everything, and how do you can you tell us how do we integrate uh, that into how do we integrate GitAuto into our project?
Yes, thank you for your questions, and it's easy. This is a GitHub application, so just go to. Can you? I'm still sharing my screen.
No, you're not sharing the screen anymore.
Okay, so let me do
So it's a
that.
module. So it's a module where I go git add and add it into my
Yeah,
project.
exactly. It can be added to your repository by installing GitAuto to just go to
So it's a dependency. I use it as a dependency. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when running tests, you know all the dependencies is also necessary, but it's installed into your GitHub Actions and CI/CD environment, and which is defined in your YAML file.
Okay, so it's not a project based thing. It's all inside my GitHub Actions in the CI/CD pipeline.
Exactly. And GitAuto just behaves like your human engineer and try to access your GitHub, you know, under necessary permission, and then try to use the GitHub Actions as well to run tests.
Okay, so it's I mean I've been following, and I see you actually say, well, look, here is my testers that run, and I just want to check the coverage. And you go, because it's attached to the GitHub Actions. That is where it's picking up its lead from to get the coverage of the test suite. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so I think some in terms of it's all built on Python. It's built in the thing. It's for integration. It does unit and integration tests. But what about UAT? What about your UAT tests? How do you uh is it there as well?
UAT.
Mm.
UAT is user acceptance testing. You are
Yeah, does it
different,
keep
right?
does it check the coverage of it?
Just it's more focused on test coverage and automated testing rather than UAT. UAT has to be done by humans.
All right. I have here from somebody called what's the person name? Oksana. Oksana is asking if one, and I was about to ask, does it work in combination, or it's just a unit and integration test plus only Python, or only GitHub, or is it a standalone thing?
At this moment, only GitHub, but agnostic programming languages, TypeScript, Python, PHP, Ruby, Flutter, Swift, and everything. Agnostic for programming language, but platform is GitHub is only supported right now. Um, and for use cases, unit test, integration test is the most suite for Git Auto. We are the most good at this
So in
test
a
case.
nutshell, somebody like myself who does not use GitHub and GitHub Actions at the moment, I can't use your tool. Is that the logic behind it?
Unfortunately, no. At this moment, because every startup has to hyper focus on use cases. So right now we only support GitHub. Sorry, I'm sorry for that. But just let me know, if you use the other platforms as well.
Okay, because I mean, we talk, yes, because you're talking about something that is built for CI/CD, and immediately I started thinking, oh, Circus CI, all these other ones is out there, Jenkins and all these other CI/CD pipelines. So, but at the moment, you just stuck on GitHub itself, where you use GitHub Actions and things like that. How so?
But
My
yeah,
question.
yes, exactly. So we only support, in terms of CI/CD perspective, we only support GitHub Actions at this moment. But Jenkins or other, test suites or CI/CD pipelines, we will support that because we just only need test coverage reports, which can be generated everywhere.
Hmm.
So we are not tightly integrated with CI/CD pipeline. So we will support other platforms as well very soon.
All right, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I like it. I like what I see, but in order for me to run a POC to see if it will work for me. I need it. I have different pipe. I don't use GitHub Actions or like that. So I would need to literally create a whole other project, just to see it work. But I think going forward, I think you should look at you guys in terms of the whole application. You guys should look at looking at the more prevalent CI/CD pipelines there and things like that.